Happy Monday and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, even leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by Shawn DePaz. Shane the Diefenbach is still in Las Vegas tearing it up. But not to worry, we've got a lot to get through today, from ASU basketball being ranked, ASU football having themselves a hell of a weekend. And to start things off talking ASU football, why don't we bring in the newest addition to ASU's backfield, running back Cameron Skattebo, former Big Sky Player of the Year, joining the Sun Devils. Cam, thanks so much for taking the time today, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Just to start off, obviously ASU lost a couple players, specifically at that running back position from last year's team. They bring in DeCarlos Brooks, and now they're bringing in you as well. You are definitely it looks like a ground and pound kind of guy. Don't go down easy. What was it about ASU that made you want to sign on and be a Sun Devil?
Going to Arizona and being able to finally meet everybody. They were, as soon as they found out I was in the portal, they were super interested, and they kind of took initiative. Coach Iguano came out and saw me the day after. When we went to Arizona, all the coaches were very, very cool people, very, very high in their hospitality. I can just see the family bond that they all have through that, being a local coaches in Arizona and coming back to their hometown. I kind of had that situation at SAC where all the coaches came back to their hometown to coach. And it's different when a coach is coaching for his city. They have that drive and that certain kind of push to make sure the team wins and make sure they do everything in their power so that they can be successful. So, I mean, that being like a family-oriented football coaching staff and all the players around, I think it's going to be awesome, and I think I fit best there for me as a person and Coach Dillingham and Coach Bull Baldwin's offense.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the focus recently with Arizona State's football has been on, like you mentioned, kind of the coaches coming home and a lot of the players coming home. But obviously, you're not an Arizona guy. You're from California. I'm curious, kind of, what has that been like? Do you kind of did it make you feel like you're still like one of those people that's kind of coming home, even though you're obviously not an Arizona athlete? Is there any kind of, do you feel any difference from the other guys that are part of this whole return to Arizona movement?
I don't really know how they feel because I haven't talked to many of them. But once I got out there, it felt like home. It just felt like that was the spot that was made for me. As soon as I got to Arizona and I got my hotel and then I got out to go out and explore the area and everything, it just felt right. I didn't have that homesickness. I didn't feel like I was gone, and only being about 10 hours away from my family, on a drive and an hour and 20-minute flight, I'll be able to see them often. So I'm not too worried, and I do feel like I'm going to another home, and it's not of course it's not Sacramento where I'm from, and I'm not going to have the Sacramento support, but I mean, through the last couple of days I've had the Arizona support, and I feel like all those people know me already and they all appreciate what I've done in the past, and with all those guys behind me and all those fans behind me already, it does feel like home already. So I don't know how those other guys feel, but I do feel like I'm coming into a spot that feels like home.
Most definitely. Kenny Dillingham, obviously at the forefront for ASU football, and his offense is known for what they do with the run game, right? Everywhere he goes, that running attack is top 10 in the country. A lot of fans expect the same here with you and DeCarlos Brooks. How do you feel like you fit in this style of offense?
I mean, with Coach Dillingham and everything he does on the offense, I can do it all, as in catching the ball, passing, rushing, blocking. So, I mean, I fit into a lot of offenses, but the biggest thing is he does get to back the ball in different ways, and that's something I looked into. It's not just running backs don't just look, most of them just look to run the ball, but I look for all the aspects of catching the ball, pass blocking, run blocking, and being able to run. Because, running backs to go to the next level don't just do one thing and run the ball. They do multiple things out of the backfield. So seeing him coach at Oregon and all the other places, I see that he gets to back the ball and does things with the back that most schools don't do. And that was huge in my part of being in part of the offense.
Yeah, so, I mean, from my understanding, you were unranked come out of high school. Then you go to Sacramento. You kind of dominate there, reigning Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year. And now you're coming in Power 5. ASU is it seems like you've kind of been proving people wrong throughout your career, going from unranked to being one of the best running backs in FCS. Do you still kind of feel a chip on your shoulder to now prove that you can do it on a higher level, or do you not really, I guess, pay attention to that kind of noise?
I didn't really, at high school when I didn't get recruited, I definitely had a chip on my shoulder. And then going into college and being able to do what I did at SAC was a big part for me, showing that I can do what I can do at any level. But that was definitely not a Power 5 school, and it wasn't the Power 5 power that comes across the other side of the ball and playing defense against other teams. That's definitely a difference. So definitely coming into Arizona, I definitely feel like I have a chip on my shoulder and that I need to prove to people that I can play even at the higher level. My goal at the end is go to the NFL. I mean, if moving up to the Power 5 conferences, going to the Pac-12 shows people that I can do it at the highest level, then that's what I'm going to do, and that's my plan. So I definitely have a chip on my shoulder for coming into Arizona and playing in the Pac-12.
You mentioned your next goal and obviously your future. You want to get to the NFL and making that jump to the Pac-12 and then just a higher division, I guess, in the FBS. Like, who do you model your run game after? Obviously, you're familiar with the NFL and some of the more dominant running backs. DeCarlos Brooks last week said he models his game a little bit after Nick Chubb. Who would you say you model your game after?
With everything I do in the pass blocking, receiving, and rushing, I'm not quite as fast as him, but Christian McCaffrey was a big part of my high school days, watching his film, trying to model his game mostly. But so I have two. There's Christian McCaffrey is what I looked up to very, very highly when he was in college and in the NFL, his early days in the NFL, and even now. But also another guy is Mike Allslott. He was a guy that, punished people, didn't hold up, kept pushing, kept his legs going, and he was just hard to bring down. It was a lot of people understood that, but he wasn't the shiftiest, he wasn't the fastest. So seeing him do that kind of was a little bit of I can do that at the next level too. So I had two guys, but Christian with everything he does is definitely one of the higher ends of who I modeled my game after.
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious. You mentioned kind of like the family aspect of everything and how welcoming everybody was. But on the other side of that, there's been a lot going on with the program. There's also kind of a reputation with ASU football that they get specifically running backs to the NFL. I'm curious how much of all of that other stuff outside of just how well you got along with the coaches played into your decision to come here, or was it really just kind of you feeling you're at home?
Yeah, I definitely noticed Coach Aguano does a great job with his running backs at ASU, so that was a big plus. I do feel like I'm going to develop my game into the highest possible. We talk quite often, and I do think I'll be ready for the league by the time I'm done playing Arizona. But I didn't really pay attention to anything else. I felt at home coming into that facility and meeting all those coaches. They were all super juiced and super happy to have me and everyone else that were there. There's a lot of guys on the visit, and I don't think one of us felt left out. So I definitely saw that aspect of family through the coaches, but I didn't really pay attention to the other stuff all around.
No. Most definitely. Couple final things before we get out of here. We like to ask everybody a little fun question here or there, just to fans can get to know you a little bit better. So if you were stranded on an island and you can only bring three things, what are you taking with you?
That's a hard one. See, I can live without my cell phone, so I would definitely need a person.
Okay.
Either my mother or my father to be able to be there with me. Because I don't want to do that alone. You can't go by yourself. And then, I'm a video game person. So if I was able to take a monitor and a PlayStation, and if there
He's
was
good
Wi-Fi,
to go.
I'd be set. Because I like to fish and everything. I could catch fish and eat and survive like that. But I definitely need something to do. Definitely some video games, and definitely another person in my life to be there with me, so I'm not alone.
I think you're the first person that I've asked that question to ever, and they don't bring something to help them get off the island. They bring you brought something that's just gonna be like, okay, this is life now. we're just gonna rough it here, I guess.
I respect it. I was interested. I noticed immediately the fit. You're already rocking the ASU hat, ASU hockey jersey. Are you a fan of other sports? Like, are you looking forward to kind of getting out to the other sporting events while you're here?
I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of ASU sports, but I am now.
Yes, sir.
I'll be there in early January, and I'll definitely be at some games throughout the seasons of most sports. I got one of my friends from back home plays on the softball team out there, so I got a little bit of a hometown friend out there. So I'll definitely be at some softball games, and then the basketball team's really good, so they got ranked 25 in the country, so I'll definitely be at some of those games. And then I've never been to a hockey game, so
listen, it's an experience here.
I saw a hockey jersey, and it's a Pat Tillman hockey jersey, and I was like, football, hockey, let's do it. So
yes, sir.
all that, and let's do it. Now I have something to wear to a hockey game. I got shirts to wear that say football on them and shirts to wear that say basketball on them, but I've never had a hockey apparel. So
yeah, hockey program is pretty good too. You're gonna have some fun at Mullet, that's for sure.
Cam, any final message to ASU fans before we let you go?
Not really. I'm ready to come play some football. Me as a player, I want to be successful, but for anything, I want to make sure the team wins, and I want to win a Pac-12 championship. And I mean, we got a 12-man playoff bracket coming, so I want to win a national championship. That's my plan. So it's people want to say it's far out of the view, but I think it's possible. So
yes, of course, I know Sonneville fans are excited to have you, Cam. Thanks so much again, and looking forward to getting you out here in Tempe.
Of course, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So, I mean, just first and foremost, right? You get a guy who is. I think his answer about the island says something.
Yeah, no, 100%.
To the fact where he's not looking for a way out of a difficult situation, right? You got a guy who is going to put his best foot forward, and if it's a situation that he's got, that's the situation he's going to roll with. Yeah. And I think for ASU football, that's kind of important to have.
Yeah. I mean, he reminds me, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about, and it just so happened that they were talking about the Bills. They were talking about Matt Milano. And they were like, he's from Orlando, and they asked him if he was a Magic fan, and they were like, I don't think he's a fan of anything other than football.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe I get from him. Like, he's obviously all the way in on ASU, and he talked about going to the other sports, but it really seems like he's the kind of guy where it's just like, I'm here to play football. I'm going to run through somebody, and I'm going to keep running until someone takes me down or I hear a whistle. And that's just, that is my job. I like that he is... maybe a little unrealistic, but I'd rather be a little unrealistic in the way that he is, where he's like, I'm here to win a national championship. Yeah. And like, obviously, I don't think any of us are sitting here thinking that they're going to be in a position to win a national championship anytime soon. But I like that that's the goal, right? Because the last thing you want is for guys to become, I guess, kind of victims of their situation and just kind of accept mediocrity. It seems like a lot of him and a lot of these new guys are here to make a difference for Arizona State. And I can't help but get excited about that.
Yeah. And I love the fact that this is a guy that is a dual threat.
Yeah.
Right. He can catch the ball. We've seen videos of him throwing the ball. Kenny's going to get excited with that, and he's going to utilize him in this offense. But the fun thing for me, right, is he is a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But you don't lose the power that comes with a little bit of a smaller back. This guy... He's got such a low center of gravity, and he does not go down. One thing that I did want to ask him about is he looks for contact.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen ASU running backs in the past, right? I look at Rashad White and Eno Benjamin, guys that are a little bit shiftier, or you look at Xavier Valade that has that burst, that is very patient. He's like a fullback.
Yeah, no, that's kind of running back. That's what I was thinking. Like, I mean, not that he was utilized a whole lot, but you're going to be missing a guy like Case Hatch, a guy that it is 4th and 1. You need him to go in between the center and the guard, or in between the guard and the tackle, just go pick up a yard. This seems like the kind of guy that's going to do that. Like, and it's not like any kind of shade at the other ASU running backs, and they were fully capable of running someone over if they needed to, but that wasn't necessarily their kind of game. Yeah. Right? They were more get them in open space and let them be shifty. This seems like a guy that is going to make ASU football a little less fun to play.
Yeah.
Right. Like, especially if you end up in a game late in the year in the
Fourth
PNW
quarter,
and it's cold, you're not going to want to tackle a motherfucker like this.
No.
So I do like that he seems like he'll be able to bring a different kind of identity to the rushing game that we have not necessarily seen the last few years.
Yeah, it's exciting. An exciting time for ASU football, for ASU basketball. And if you want to make some money on these sports, you could do it on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, guys. Right now, download that app and sign up with code PHNX. Place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game, and you guys are going to get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code PHNX, only a DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for more details. Shawn, I don't want to do a DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week quite yet, but what is your favorite game on the NBA slate over the next couple days? Maybe?
Ooh, NBA slate?
NBA slate. I know we've got some Suns basketball.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the Suns. First off,
Suns Lakers tonight? Come on.
Ooh.
Come on now. No D-Book, though.
Pat Bev versus the Lakers again? Yeah, I mean, that worries me if I'm a Suns fan, to be quite honest with you. Ooh, Jazz Cavs. There we go. Tonight, Jazz Cavs. That's going to be a hell of a game. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell playing against his old team.
Yep.
I'm very intrigued by that. If you want a really ugly game, if you're a real D-Gen, Spurs Rockets play tonight. Ew. That seems like that'll be a
very
ton of fun.
game.
Yeah. And then maybe Cameron Skattebo's Sacramento Kings. They play the Hornets tonight. There's actually some pretty good games.
Go make some money, guys. Go make some money on that DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, that's code PHNX, only DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for more details.
I mean, I feel like we have to acknowledge Omar in the chat. He's been getting a little worked up. I know it's hard as a hater. I know it's hard when you see the people you're hating on just start to shine a little bit. I understand that can be difficult.
That's what we do, Omar!
That's what we do. We get under your skin. I understand it.
Got me yelling at 2:20 on a Monday.
You got him yelling at 2:20 on a Monday. I think both Totri and you need to calm down a little bit.
You're right.
Let's be happy that
you're right.
That's well. You know, you want him to calm down. You want to know how we can calm down, Derek? Take some OGs. Take some OGs. Omar, you could take some OGs, calm down. Let's just be happy that Arizona State, like the state of Arizona, is dominant. Basketball, we're both top 25.
Yes, sir.
We don't got to mention what numbers. They both end in a 5. But both football, both of our programs are heading in the right direction. Let's just State 48. A little State 48 pride.
I love you, Omar.
And taking OGs, calm down. I'm a big fan of the orange creamsicle, but I also sometimes like to mix in a microdose. The other night I was here producing Coyotes. I was getting really anxious, so I just took one of the little microdose things, just calm down a little bit. They got a little something for everybody. Yeah. But regardless of what you're looking for out of your little THC, CBD, sleep time experience, whatever it is, check out OGs. Go to ogsbrands.com. You can learn more about them there. Go to your local dispensary. But as always, you must be 21 and over to enjoy.
Yes, sir. Omar, I love you, brother. Thank you for the engagement.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for the engagement.
It makes it more fun.
Yes.
Omar and Tina are like diehards.
I love it.
They're here even when we're...
They're all PHNX all the time.
They're PHNX all the time. I appreciate it. The rivalry, y'all make it more fun to be ASU.
You do. You really do.
Like, that's one thing our old schools, I mean, Notre Dame, Syracuse, that's what we lacked is a natural in-state rival, I feel like.
Yeah, Notre Dame didn't have. I mean, I guess a whole ACC.
Totri covered Notre Dame.
I didn't go to Notre Dame.
I know, but I mean,
it's different. It's different living there. Like you feel like you went there because it's literally like wherever you go, it's blue and gold.
Yeah, he is not Notre Dame in the way that I'm Syracuse, but I understand we both have an affinity for a different school that does not have an in-state rival.
Yes,
having an in-state rival makes it a little more.
Makes it fun. It makes it a lot of fun. We've got some big stuff ASU basketball related, but it makes sense to continue with ASU football here. A big weekend for the Sun Devils in terms of the transfer portal and in terms of recruiting. Yesterday, in ASU record, 7 public commits. I know Omar is going to go off in the chat because they got a Georgia D tackle and an Alabama offensive lineman. Congratulations.
We got a Texas pass rusher.
You know the greatest thing in the world is that your transfers don't win you games in the offseason. Omar, we're just here to talk about them. Okay? That's it. Just wanted to give you that heads up.
He gave you love. He did. He said he's a diehard Arizona fan, but he loves these shows.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I like that you're trolling. It makes it more fun.
Trolls are fun when they're nice trolls.
When they're good trolls, yeah.
When they're good. Not the CU fans. Oh, my goodness. The CU fans came. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, baby.
Here we go. What are you doing, Omar? You're bringing out all the boys.
And then Joe's talking about New York's college team. The Syracuse Orange. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time about this, but we do have to acknowledge that U of A is kind of going crazy.
They are. I will 100%. I will 100%.
Flow as a get.
Well done. Jed Fish, as we said, Jed Fish, friend of the program.
Also, Jed Fish is going into his third year.
Jed Fish does watch this show.
Yeah, but
it's phenomenal.
Jed Fish is going into his third year. Kenny's going into his first. How did y'all do in Jed's first year?
Let's just chill. Let's talk about some of the guys that we've gotten over the course of the last few days. Starting with offensive lineman Ben Coleman from Cal. I think this, out of all of the recruits and commitments and transfers so far, I think Ben Coleman is probably the best one, considering that he is a guy that has played a lot of Division I football. He's a guy that was arguably Cal's best offensive. We took Cal's LD, pretty much.
Which is good. I mean, I think it is one of the bigger moves in the context of this team, too. They needed offensive line help. There was a lot of questions there. So I like that. It is crazy that we talked the other day about their need an offensive line, and they started kind of going a little crazy on the offensive line.
It's like we knew something was happening.
We didn't, but it's like we knew.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Moving on, we also, ASU also added linebacker Travion Brown, Washington State linebacker. This is big considering you've got now Washington State's defensive coordinator, known for his aggressive nature, and one of the guys that he utilized last season was Travion Brown. Bring him home. Or I guess not home, he's not from here. But you're bringing in a guy that knows the defense. You're bringing in a guy that is going to fill a need, right? Considering ASU is losing Merlin Robertson and Kyle Sully.
Yeah.
2 key pieces of that defense, and now you fill that void with Travion Brown.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly attacking the positions of need, right? They're not going to get another tight end because they don't really need another tight end. They are attacking positions of need, which is essentially everything except for tight end, to be quite honest. But they are taking care of things, and I really like that. And I like the fact that both Brown and Coleman are Pac-12 guys. They know they're going to play their old schools, but in general, they know what Pac-12 football is like. They are going to see an Oregon, and they're not going to be surprised by Oregon's power or anything because it's something they've already experienced. So I like it.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a good day.
Keeping it with the defense, ASU also adding edge rusher Prince Dorba from Texas, one of the best names from the portal. Prince Dorba. He didn't get a lot of playing time at Texas, so his stat sheet is nothing crazy. But this is a guy coming in 6'3", 6'4", I believe around the 240 mark. He's a big dude, and look, that Texas defense had a lot of players. Right. So to get a guy of his caliber, of his recruitment status to ASU, I think is going to be huge, considering ASU at times last season struggled to get to opposing quarterbacks, struggled to make noise in the trenches, and you bring in a guy with that Texas football experience, that's definitely going to make a difference.
No, yeah. There's like There are a few schools where you're telling me I'm getting an edge rusher or a linebacker from that I'm going to be more excited than Texas. Like that is just one of those schools that produces defensive players. Obviously, Texas hasn't been their best the last few years, but it's not nothing. Especially since I haven't seen him play. It's kind of hopefully not anything but kind of like Paul Tyson, where I'm going to be excited about his affiliation with a big time program until he gives me a reason not to be. I mean, and I know you know that, Omar, because you're bragging about an offensive lineman from Georgia who hasn't even played yet, or defensive lineman, isn't it? But yeah, it's good. It's just I just want them to have tools, because we talk about wanting the defense to be more aggressive and all that, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't have the players to do that. So this is the move out of the list that we have here from yesterday that excites me the most. It might be a little bit of my Texas bias, but I just love having an edge rusher from a school like that.
Why don't I interest you in another edge rusher by the name of Elijah O'Neal from Butt College?
But I think it's Butte.
Butte, but same thing. Yeah. This man had 14 and a half sacks last year.
I will take it.
14 and a half sacks is ridiculous. I don't think it matters
who you're playing against.
It doesn't. You're just at that point, you're just beating somebody.
Yeah.
Every single time you're out.
Remember, Khalil Mack played in the MAC. Just remember that. There's talent everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing with Prince. Like to have a guy to
26 tackles for loss, dude.
To give them tools. This is clearly a guy that has a nose for the football. He is going to punish offensive players. And I like that. And I feel like when you produce like that at a level like that, it's kind of the same thing with Cameron, like we were just talking about. You have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder to prove that you can do that just as well at a higher level. So that's why I like these guys. I like that they are I like that Kenny and his staff are attacking, the big schools, but also trying to go find some hidden gems in some FCS junior college schools, stuff like that. So that, again, just very exciting.
A guy that can get to the quarterback in a defense that is expected to be
a lot more aggressive
is going to be scary.
Yeah.
This guy is built, for all the real ASU fans, this guy is built like Karan Crump, who was just a ridiculous pass rusher for ASU in the past. So I'm excited to see if he can replicate even half of what he did at Butte College.
It'd be better than anybody else last year if he did just half of what he did.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, from this moment forward, Butte College will now be known as Butt College.
Yeah.
ASU also adding offensive lineman Kyle Scott from Riverside Community College. Definitely a guy that is, in my estimation, it's not going to blow you away on paper, but they add depth to a position that they really need.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it at points last year. They had to rely on what depth they had in the offensive line. That's a position that guys get hurt at. That's just the reality of it. I mean, it's the reality of football, obviously, but to have depth there, to have just serviceable guys, if anyone goes down, is very comforting.
Yeah,
very comforting. And now Donnie's getting some shots thrown at him in the chat, rightfully, deservedly so.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully Coach Ward is not not aggressive in the same way that Donnie was, which is to say not aggressive at all.
Yeah. And ASU pulling in a couple of defensive backs as well, future guys, not necessarily from the transfer portal, but just recruits. Starting with defensive back Montana Warren, also phenomenal name.
Yes, that is a tremendous name.
Henderson High School in Texas. So when you get a guy that played high school football in Texas and was verbally committed to TCU, and you get him to flip, that's big.
That is very big. I don't know if you knew this. TCU, pretty good this year. They were pretty good this year. And Texas, pretty good at putting up high school football recruits.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that about them. It's kind of their thing over there. So, yeah, I mean, obviously that only means so much, but on paper, and it's also awesome. Like, the transfers are cool, but a lot of times transfers are in situations where, they're kind of just looking for whoever is going to show interest in them.
Yeah.
When you have a guy like this who is getting recruited by a TCU, who had other options, to off-rip choose ASU as his program is comforting. It shows you what I think we've kind of already started to hear from some of these transfers and stuff, that all of this outside noise is not really a problem for recruits right now.
No, not at all.
So yeah, that is another good sign.
And it helps to see, again, I know it's a different sport and the situations are different, but to see the repercussions that U of A faced for their whole basketball situation.
Tennessee in football, though.
To see that it wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think that should get people a little bit of a reason to take a giant exhale, right? It's not going to be as bad as everybody thinks it's going to be. Finally, defensive back Keontez Bradley. We talked a little bit about him last week getting the offer. I believe it was last week or the week before that he pulled in an offer from ASU, from Mansfield High School in Ohio. Got great ball skills, a guy that can definitely go up, pinpoint the football, take it away from receivers. It's going to be exciting to get a guy like that in here as well. Yeah. Out of all of the recruits, aside from Ben Coleman, who's your favorite?
Mine's Prince Dorba. I just love having an edge rusher from Texas. That gets me excited off rip. But honestly, Keontez too. Like, I mean, Texas gets a lot of love, but Ohio and Pennsylvania, like those are they produce some football players too.
Yeah.
So that gets me excited, and it also, like, those last two, the high school guys, are exciting for me because I think obviously a lot's been made about activating the Valley and recruiting in state, and then people, some of the haters, like to point out that you're not going to be able to build a winning program only off in-state recruits, which, whether or not that's true is whatever. But the fact that they are going out all over the country and still getting recruits in addition to trying to take over in-state recruiting is a very good sign in my mind. So kind of what those last the high school recruits represent, that's what gets me excited.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you talk about representation in terms of those two high school guys. Like, it should be exciting, any high school guy that Kenny's able to get, because however long he's here, like, this is his inaugural class of his guys, right? Wherever you go, there's a new coaching hire. The excuse is, oh, these are the old regime's guys. Those are Herm's guys. Mm-hmm. These are whatever. Like, those are Kenny's first set of, quote, his guys. So it is going to be interesting to see those guys moving forward. If I had to pick, I'll be honest, Montana Warren is really, really exciting to get a guy that was verbally committed to TCU, played high school football in Texas. And then other than that, Elijah O'Neal, man, anytime you can get a guy at 6'4" that has 14 and a half sacks in one season, 26 tackles for loss in one season, like, he's going to be a force. Like, that's just it. And in this defense, I think they're going to scheme him to be one of the more disrupting defenders. So it is certainly going to be exciting. ASU football is far from finished. We talked about last night how Drew Pine took a visit, former Notre Dame quarterback, took a visit to ASU this past weekend. Still no news on that front. I imagine it'll probably still be a couple days, maybe weeks, before we hear on Drew Pine. But in all honesty, the more I've been able to sleep on it, I don't hate it. You add in another guy that's got big time experience. And I had somebody message me about, does this move the needle, right? Does Drew Pine, is he a significant upgrade from Bourget or from Conover? And in all honesty, I'm not sure. Yeah. We'll have to see it in this offense because that is something that I think gets lost in the whole transfer translation. Some guys succeed better when they're in certain systems. Look at Bo Nix.
Look at the quarterback situation last year.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to sit here and pretend after what we saw Emory capable of doing at Florida that Trent Morgan is necessarily a better quarterback, but he was certainly better at this school and better in this system than Emory was. It just is a matter of circumstance.
About finding the fit. And look, got to have trust that Kenny knows what he's doing in terms of going to get some of these guys that he wants, and vice versa. So we'll see what happens. I don't hate it by any means. I think ASU is an attractive spot for just about every recruit in the nation, simply because you got Burrito Express in Tempe, right across the street from the stadium. Honestly, they got locations just about everywhere in Arizona. Go get yourself a breakfast burrito. For me, no cheese, double bacon. It is
respect.
Chef's kiss. And apparently Elijah Badger is going to be the future of Burrito Express, according to Daniel Ngata. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see.
But I'm still waiting for you to get us.
Yeah, I will. If I had more time today, I was thinking about it, but I didn't have time. But the streets, and by the streets I mean Max, have been talking. There's a possibility that Burrito Express will have a presence at.
Okay, Omar, that's the worst thing you've said. What? That is the worst thing you've said. Don't even acknowledge. Don't even acknowledge it. Just keep going.
Okay, I've fun with EGs or whatever the fuck that shit is. I've heard that there's a potential for Burrito Express to have a presence at our inaugural PHNX Tea Party, which is presented by Four Peaks at Dobson Rats Golf Course. We're renting out an entire driving range. And it's not like your grandpa's driving range. You're not getting a bucket of balls and just swinging at nothing.
No, it's fun.
It's got a little Top Golf technology. You can play Go Fish. You could play like
Angry Birds.
golf.
You can play Angry Birds.
You could play actual virtual golf courses. This shit is on a whole different level. But yeah, so we're renting out the driving range. But again, calling a driving range seems a little derogatory because it's better than that. Come hang out with Big Drive Energy, the PHNX crew, and fellow diehards for a night of golf, food, drinks, contest prizes, and more. Our PHNX Suns crew will be hosting a watch party for the Suns versus Timberwolves. Shout out Karl Anthony Towns. Four Peaks will be out there providing beer samples and swag. Check the link in our description to reserve your spot right now. And for diehards, check out your Discord for your special link where you'll receive 20% off on this awesome event. I'm excited. Cannot wait. There's going to be heaters there, so I'll be able to rock the bad birdie and not have to worry about being cold because I haven't gotten a bad birdie quarter zip yet. I'm still just rocking the polos. So I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited.
It's definitely going to be a lot.
We were out there the other day, and that shit was. I'm terrible at golf, and I still enjoyed it.
It's going to be fun. Take out your anger on some of these balls. Come on now.
And there's like field goal posts out in the field so you can pretend you're playing football if that's your thing.
It's a good time. It's also a good time to be an ASU basketball fan.
Ooh,
because guess what? They are ranked. The Sun Devils finally get some respect. Get inside the AP top 25, sitting right on the edge there at number 25. You got to figure if this team wins their game on the road this week, going into that U of A matchup, depending on how the rest of the top 25 figures, I imagine that ASU is looking at a top 20 spot facing what's set up to be a top 5 U of A team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now the hard part is done. You got in the top 25. Now you just hold on to it. Like if you win, like you can't lose to San Francisco because you're going to get knocked right back out of the standings.
Especially knowing that you're right at 25.
Yeah, but on the other side of that, San Francisco's not a bad team. So that beating San Francisco and then getting a little help higher up on the rankings, which just naturally always happens, you're going to have an opportunity to move up. And again, I know U of A fans don't want to see it, but it's better for y'all for ASU to be good and to be ranked. Yeah. Because when y'all beat ASU, I know that's how y'all thinking about it. When y'all beat ASU, that's going to be good for you. You're beating a ranked opponent. It's better for the conference. It serves everybody to be good in the conference in Arizona. But yeah, I mean, it's about damn time. I think this team has shown that they are one of the top 25 team in the country. I'm not sitting here pretending they're a 1 seed, but they are one of the 25 best teams in the country, or at least they've been playing like it. So yeah, they deserve this. They
got enough respect, but there were still 43 voters who didn't have ASU in the AP top 25.
Well, that just means I kind of like that, right? Because they get the respect of being ranked, but they still, I feel like, have a chip on their shoulder where it's like, not everybody's giving us this respect. So we still have a little bit to go earn and prove. So I think it's a very exciting time to be ASU.
And one voter had ASU as high as number 8 in the AP top 20.
That sounds like some Pac-12 bias. It's a little ridiculous. I don't know if we deserve 8 yet, but I'll take 25. I would have taken like a 23, 22 maybe. I think they deserve to be around there. They gotta go beat some teams that are ranked and will stay ranked after they beat them because they don't have a win over a team that is ranked right now. They need to go accomplish that if they want to go to show that they really deserve a higher number.
Yeah, the teams they're chasing. In terms of like the 5 teams ahead of them, you've got Marquette sitting at 9-3.
Smart.
You've got Auburn at 9-2, and they dropped 4 spots this past week. You got Miami up 3 spots at 22, Virginia Tech up 3 spots, TCU up a spot, and then Kentucky falling 6. They are now 7-3 on the season. So ASU definitely with a chance to make some noise in terms of the rest of the Pac-12. You only got 2 other teams in the pack that are ranked. You've got UCLA at 10-2 on the season. They're up to number 13 in the AP top 25. They moved up 3 spots from 16 to 13 this past week. And then obviously you've got Arizona up 4 spots after their big weekend beating Tennessee. They're 10-1 on the year, and they are up 4 spots to number 5. Look, U of A, good at basketball. UCLA, good at basketball. ASU, this is the first time they have been ranked since the 2020-2021 season.
Yeah.
So today's a big day for Bobby Hurley in his future at ASU, right? Because we have said it multiple times. Like when asked, what is it going to take for Bobby Hurley to keep his job and keep faith in this program? Two things. You've got to make the NCAA tournament, and you've got to be ranked at some point this season.
Yeah.
We're in December, and one of those things is done. He can't do the other thing until the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good about it. And I mean, to go back to kind of the ranking things, number 6 Virginia plays number 22 Miami. Virginia wins that game. Miami probably gets knocked out. ASU moves up. ASU did not get in the top 25 of the coaches poll though. 33 votes. They're still on the outside looking in there. So, like I said, I feel like there's still a little bit of sense of them not getting 100% of the respect they deserve, and I like it. But yeah, I mean, as far as Bobby is concerned, this is about all you could ask for. It is obviously the thing that upsets me is they should be undefeated right now. They should not have lost to Texas Southern. I don't know how much that would affect like rankings and stuff like that, but they should be undefeated. But the fact that you can even say that they should be undefeated is a sign that things are going very well.
Yeah,
and better than I expected. I did not expect them to be sitting here with a win over a ranked team, having beat Michigan and Creighton. Like I didn't expect that. So it's good, but you got it. Like I know we're kind of going back and forth with Omar and U of A, but like that is a game that you are going to be underdogs in. A game you're playing a team that is on paper much better than you. Yeah. No, they're not even on paper. U of A is arguably the best team in the country. They're amazing. Top 5 team. They're amazing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that they're not. But weird things happen in rivalries, and this team is not a joke. ASU's defense is not a joke. The question there is really whether or not ASU can keep up with them offensively. But ASU's defense is not a joke. They could. I think that game is going to be a little more interesting than people expect it to be. But if you go win that one,
hey, anything happens in rival games, man.
Exactly. If
you throw everything you know out the window.
If you go win that one,
but don't look past it. Yeah. Right? Don't look past it. You got a big game on Wednesday, at San Francisco, and you can't look past them. We say this it feels like every post game show. We're like, okay, get back to neutral. Yeah. And I know Bobby does. Bobby's well aware of how to coach a basketball team.
Also, Bobby, like Shane has mentioned before, Bobby wished Christmas didn't exist. They play this game and then they have Christmas break, and then things get real.
But this team seems different.
It does seem different, but I mean, they could show us that they're not if they don't keep things going through the Christmas break. So the fact that you have a little bit of a break and then you got to get right back to U of A is it's going to be interesting to see how Bobby and his team tackles that challenge.
And I think this week now being ranked right, you have a different thing to get back neutral from. Normally it's after beating Michigan or VCU or whatever, you're like, okay, big game, big win, let's get back here. Now it's like, okay, not only did we have the big win on Sunday that we have to get neutral from, but we also have to temper the excitement of being in the AP Top 25 and having a number next to our name to being like, okay, look, focus on the task at hand. The task at hand is San Francisco on the road. They're a good team, and winning in college sports is difficult, especially on the road, especially before a big emotional game that you're expecting on New Year's Eve.
And coming off the back of a game where you really didn't play any competition.
No.
Like you dominated them.
So you go, if ASU goes and does what they did last night to San Francisco, then you're set up. Then you're set up for your top 20 matchup between your two Arizona
I mean, that's really the biggest issue because I think this is going to be a good game between U of A and ASU, but it also could be very, very bad because ASU has disappeared at times offensively. And if you're not scoring, like if you're not shooting well from behind the arc, you're going to get blown out by Arizona. You're going to get blown the fuck out. That's just I think.
But we saw what Utah did. We saw what Utah was able to do.
But there is a way to beat this team.
Yeah. ASU is the perfect team to do it.
Next 2 games, Montana State and Morgan State, and that's in between now and the ASU game.
Yeah. I like the fact that ASU gets a couple days to chill. I like it. I think especially considering U of A's got a couple games in between that slate, for you to be able to, I know Bobby has in the past said, I wish that Christmas didn't exist, but this is a group of dogs. Frankie Collins is different than most of the guards that ASU's had in the past. The Cambridge brothers, they're family. They're going to be together talking about basketball the whole time that they're on Christmas break, right? Warren Washington likely in that conversation as well, considering he just came from Nevada with them, right? So like Austin Nunez, dog. Duke Brennan, Bunch of guys that love and just like breathe basketball. One of the things, and I don't want to take anything away from that guard U team, okay? But I saw something today that made me think of this ASU basketball team a little bit. And like the difference between the great teams, right? Which I think this ASU basketball team has the potential to do is the idea of being interested versus being obsessed. And the great teams aren't just interested in basketball or interested in winning. They're obsessed with it. And I think this ASU basketball team, with the players that it has on this roster, is absolutely obsessed with the idea of being the best that they can possibly be. And with that obsession, I don't think the whole 10 days without a game really makes that much of a difference for these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's a game that's going to be able to keep you focused for a long period of time, it is against your biggest rival. So, I mean, no one knows, right? We're all talking hypothetically. It'll be very interesting to see, like I said, how they respond to this challenge. I just want a competitive game, man. That's really all I can ask for.
It's going to be fun. It's also going to be a lot of fun to get out of here so we can go enjoy some Mountain Mike's pizza.
Yes. I already was partaking, and I'm going to partake some more after.
Shout out Mountain Mike's. They got a great crew over there. They hooked us up with some bomb pizza, some bomb wings, and like they've got some great Sunday and Thursday night football specials. Guys, go check them out. Mountain Mike's is officially opening on Oracle and Wetmore. It is chef's kiss.
And I didn't even know if they had Sunday and Thursday night football specials.
I didn't either. Know that. But they go crazy, apparently.
Yeah, imagine getting some Mountain Mike's and then opening up the Underdog Fantasy app to go make some money on that Thursday and or Sunday night football game. Yes, it is match made in heaven. But yeah, download the Underdog Fantasy app. It's easy to get started. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app. Sign up with promo code PHNX and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. You can do some daily sport or like fantasy drafts. You can do a little pick'em action. I actually won money the last time I took a little foray into the Underdog world.
Love it.
Took some insurance, and then Marquise Goodwin, excuse me, his higher lower pushed, so I ended up winning $15.
Things you love to see.
Put 10 down, 115, a little something. So I like insurance, but it's fun. It is the most fun way to make some money on whatever sport you want to make money on, to be quite honest.
Most definitely. Guys, we appreciate you watching today, or if you're listening on audio, thank you so much. Go ahead and give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils on social. You can follow me at Anthony_Tocher. You can follow the man who's not here, Shane Diefenbach at Shane Diefen. You can follow Sean DePaz at Sean_DePaz.
Hating on U of A as always.
Yes, sir. No show tomorrow, but we will be back Wednesday with a post-game show following ASU basketball's road trip against the San Francisco Dons, and stay up to date on our YouTube because we're going to have plenty more ASU football and basketball content coming your way over the course of the next couple days. But for now, guys, enjoy your Monday. Peace.